to another episode of Retro Reload. Today we've got a news-filled episode, a lot of really cool things happening out there in Gamerland that you may or may not be aware of. Most people know, I think, Red, you're aware, right? 30th anniversary of Back to the Future was
Yes.
last week.
And the date of the second one, I believe, was recent too.
Yeah, so lots of really cool things with that. I know a lot of theaters, October 23rd or 21st.
First, I think.
Yeah, I think it was October 21st, 2015. They were doing, in the theaters and all that kind of stuff. They even did they re-released the trilogy on Blu-ray and DVD, and they had a new. For those that don't know, the new trilogy actually features a short film that they did with Christopher Lloyd reprising his role as Doc Brown that explains why this is not the 2015 that we saw in the movies. So that was pretty cool. So anybody that doesn't already own it, there's a reason to buy. Anybody that does already own it, there is a reason to buy. More Christopher Lloyd.
Just buy it.
Clear. Anyway, so on that note, what a lot of people don't know is that the game by Telltale, Back to the Future the game, was also re-released. So I got a copy right here, because I'm like obsessive like that. Basically, the 30th anniversary edition of the Back to the Future game, much like the regular edition of the game, the 30th anniversary edition features many of the voice actors, many of the cast from the original Back to the Future game. They have Marty's girlfriend reprises her role as Jennifer. They have Michael J. Fox actually does have some cameo spots in here, although most of the Marty McFly is actually voiced by AJ Lacasco. Lacasco is awesome. I mean, he sounds spot on like young 1985 Marty
Michael
McFly.
J. Fox.
Yeah, he did a spectacular job. What's really cool is Christopher Lloyd voices Dr. Emmett Brown in his various versions in the game. And what's really new and fresh for the 30th anniversary edition is that they actually got Tom Wilson, a.k.a. Biff Tannen, to come back and do his voice. And the first game that came out for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 and stuff, it did not have... They used a different voice actor who did a fine job, but, Tom Wilson, obviously so iconic as Biff, it was great to see that they had an opportunity to update the material. Also received a facelift, so it's in 1080p.
Cool.
So anybody that hasn't already experienced it, you got a reason. Anybody that has already experienced it, are you not listening to me tonight or what? Tom Wilson. Come on, guys. I hate having to repeat myself. Man, these people were excellent. Buy their stuff a dozen times so that they can live high on the hog for the rest of their lives on that
Exactly.
Anyway, great movie. But moving on to our next topic. I don't know if you guys got a chance to check it out, but there was an article recently. I'm going to pull up some of the info so I can drop you some of this stuff. But there was on, let's see, Askell Junkilla posted an opinion piece in Polygon, which was titled, "The Mobile Games Market is an Absolute Mess, Thanks to You." Basically, in a nutshell, that article was about a mobile developer blaming us because his game did not make him a millionaire instantaneously. That's like that's the super Reader's Digest condensed version of it. So the internet did what the internet does. A gentleman named Ken Wong wrote a response on Polygon and basically said, look, it's your own fault. The marketing, frankly, wasn't that good. The name is not really that compelling, and the game itself is kind of, not anything really to stand out. But he didn't do it in a hurtful way. He did it in a very constructive, like, here are some things that you could have done, here's what you could have thought in terms of naming and branding. And he really, Ken makes this really good point that nowadays there's such a glut of games out there that, really it is a buyer's market, for games. We get to basically set, the prices that we're willing to pay. We get to set the experiences that we're willing to have and things like that. And he starts off, I thought, on a pretty good road toward kind of tutoring this mobile games developer into like, look, you can sink a lot of time and a lot of energy into the game, but if you don't sink just as much, if not more time, into letting people know your game exists nowadays, you pretty much don't expect it to go anywhere. So, but then he quickly kind of turns it a bit, and there's a section in Ken's article that I want to bounce off you both. The section is titled "Diversity Means Not Everything Is For You." And for folks that are like just coming in this totally blind, I'll have some links to these articles that I'm mentioning down in the doodly-doo. Basically, he says, Askell Junkilla is right about one thing. There is a cultural shift that needs to happen in order for games to move forward. That shift is for old-school, hardcore gamers to allow for a diversity of game designs and game consumption habits. Turning up our noses at game design and player choices with which we don't agree prevents games from evolving and maturing. The old system of asking players to buy a game outright for an industry-fixed price to play for hours on expensive dedicated hardware is an oppressive set of constraints, but we now enjoy more ways of playing, funding, composing, and distributing games than ever before. Diversity in game design and consumption means more people than ever can find a game that suits them. For me personally, I'm having a hard time seeing where the first half of his paragraph, where he puts the blame for the industry going and its maturation and everything. I'm finding a hard time finding where his conclusion makes sense that it's us, the hardcore, and the old school gamers. What do you guys think?
You go first, Tyler.
I don't really know. I mean, I kind of agree with you. I mean, I don't see the I don't know, what's the word? The correlation between the two. It doesn't make sense. I'm kind of with you.
I mean, unless he saw me the other day at EA, holding a gun to the publisher's head saying, no, you still need to make console games. You can't go mobile.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about companies going mobile in the past, and I mean, I don't get it. And maybe I'm part of the problem.
Yeah, now Nintendo, I think a good example of this, right, is Nintendo recently made this big thing about they're going to go mobile and blah, 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 right? And their first mobile game that they announced, I don't know if you guys have seen the first mobile game that they announced. It's some, I don't even remember it because it basically, it's some dumb thing using Mii's. And, like, for me personally, like, I still find, I mean, Mii's were kind of interesting back in, like, Wii Sports, right? Like, there was, like, for the normal bundle-in games, or just, like, the odd mini-game party, whatever, Mii's are fine, but, like, Nintendo, I think we're all expecting Mario on mobile,
yeah,
right?
If I want to play a mobile game that's Nintendo, it's going to have to have Mario in it.
Right.
Not Miiverse.
Right. So help me God, right? If the mobile gaming and the casual gaming community wants to hold me accountable, or the developers of mobile games want to hold me accountable because I don't want some shitty Mii game by Nintendo, I want an actual Mario game by Nintendo on a mobile device, dude, game over. Like, know your audience, know your market. If you're trying to bring your properties to mobile, step number one, don't half-ass it. Right? Bring it to mobile in a meaningful way. Bring me something on mobile that I actually want to play. Don't bring me, like, whatever, you're willing to kind of dangle out there and take a risk with, and then, get upset when it's not an IP or something that I really give a damn about. So, Red, though, you declined the initial response from my question.
Well,
so.
I was let Pug Marks. I was being nice, but
Okay. I was gonna say you can't get out of it. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, the original developer, I don't get. It's like, I hate to be the one to say this. I'm younger, but it's like, you need to get instant gratification. That's what everyone wants. Instant gratifications. Here's my game. Next day, oh, I'm famous.
Yeah.
That's
I
almost
made
how
this. I sank X number of hours into it.
Yeah.
That way, therefore, you must sink Y amount of dollars into it.
I should have this much money already, and it's like, no. He's like, no, you take risk in gaming. Every company, every dev, they all took risks. They all had bad games.
Yeah.
It's also the point. It's like you want to change the market where the market's at. That's like me going to where all the farms are and stuff, and try to open like a Prius dealership. And it's like, well, why aren't these guys buying Priuses? You guys need to buy Priuses. Sure, you guys are all driving trucks because you're farm workers, but you need to buy these Priuses too. That's almost how it's like.
I think you nailed it, dude. I think you totally nailed it because, it seems to me like you're grasping for, the answer has to be that it's not our fault. And to me, it seems like it's kind of very misplaced. I think mobile, definitely, I liken mobile actually to the Wii, right? Everybody's drawn to it because of the potential. There's one in everybody's home. They've really taken off. We got to get games in their hands now. But I think like the Wii, there's a lot of shovelware crap out there that's really just companies going, well, does this work on mobile? Does that work on mobile? Well, what if we tried this, right? What if you implement the accelerometer, or the GPS? Can we make the GPS positioning somehow incorporated into and it's like, guys, focus on making the game actually fun, and I'll play it and I'll buy it. That's the key. That's the secret. That's all there is to it. And I say that's all there is to it, but I think, Red, you said it great. Like, it's hard, and it takes risk, and it takes experimentation. If they want to blame anybody, I think, for the failure of the games, industry to mature and kind of move forward, I blame the fact that it's mostly money-driven. I mean, yes, I understand you need to make money and all that other stuff, but here's the reality. As long as Call of Duty can basically print money, you can count on that series going from now until the end of time, when you might wait 5 or 8 years for the next Mega Man. You know why you don't get a Mega Man every year? Because nobody cares enough about Mega Man to plunk down bucks to actually buy a Mega Man game every single year. And I love Mega Man. I think it's great, right? I own every Mega Man game. But at the same time, like, I haven't loved it enough to where, it took me a while. Like, I waited till they came in collections and things like that. I waited until I didn't own the Mega Man games when they were new on the Nintendo. I waited till they were on the PlayStation and I could get them, in a used bin even for $12. So I didn't even buy it firsthand. So I can be a Mega Man fan and love the game. But there's a difference between being a fan, loving the game, and willing to plunk down my hard-earned cash for it. And for whatever reason, right, Call of Duty, the Madden games,
Battlefield.
Right? People are willing to repeatedly throw down piles of money on these games. And so because the publishers know this, those are the games that are going to get the bucks and the development teams and all that stuff. And everything else is going to get best effort or shelf.
It was funny too that
it's not about whether or not I'm telling people develop for console or develop for mobile. I think it's more about where do they see the less risk and the biggest payout.
It's funny because you keep hearing, mobile game is the next thing. It's gonna be the next big thing. It's gonna take over. Well, obviously it's not. If by this article that they're struggling still, and they don't have the market.
Yeah, mobile games have taken over, or that is to say, mobile games have been taken over by developers.
Yeah.
I mean,
everybody is developing for this platform now and just flooding it with stuff.
Well, that's the thing. Mobile it's still a new idea. Yeah, it's a new. It's a new platform. I mean, relatively, in terms of consoles, so I mean, we're on the iPhone 6 now, so I mean,
yeah.
It's still pretty new.
And also, problem is, I want to sit there and play a game and drain my battery before I get home.
That is a really good point because I have to meter how much gaming I do on my phone for that precise reason.
I want to play a game that I knew my phone's dead.
Yeah, my phone can do a lot of things now. The problem is, if I do all those things, I find myself halfway into the day without a phone. So.
And I don't carry a charger on me, so it's like,
Yeah, I mean, I carry, right? I've got an iPhone 6 Plus, but I've also got a 3DS. I game on the 3DS,
And doesn't affect it at all
on the phone. But I'll be honest with you, the only times I'm really gaming on the phone, ironically enough, is
on the
when I'm
shooter.
at home. Because I know I'm close enough to a power source to be able to recharge the thing before I have to go.
Mhm.
So this, if the battery dies,
No
I don't
big
have
deal.
to worry about losing my GPS.
Yeah.
Or a
Right?
phone
I don't have
call.
to worry about not being able to take a picture at my son's birthday party or whatever. Right?
That's my biggest thing about mobile gaming. It's like, you're killing my battery, and I need my phone.
Yeah, yeah. So, but that said, there's definitely some good, games on mobile. I am a huge fan of NBA Jam on mobile.
Mhm.
It is absolutely perfect. I mean, it is my favorite game on mobile. And for anybody that's having problems, anybody that has an iPhone 6 that has a problem with, let's just show that I actually do have it working. I was having a problem ever since I upgraded to iOS 9. Big surprise, right? iOS 9 bugs pop. It's all over the interwebs. But there was a feature, I want to say since iOS 8 actually, I hadn't been able to play NBA Jam, the HD edition, which really pissed me off because the free download worked. Like the download just to play one matchup in standard def, that one worked. The HD one that I paid extra bucks for didn't work, and it had worked originally when I bought an iPhone 4. So I guess iPhone 4 all the way up to iPhone 6, pretty impressive that it still even worked at all. But what I was getting with the iPhone 6 once I updated to iOS 8 was app would open and then instantly disappear. And I see from a lot of the 1 and 2 star reviews, a lot of people had the same problem. So here's your fix for it, guys. Basically, first I'm going to show you that it can actually run.
I'm surprised you like NBA Jam. You don't seem like a guy who would like NBA Jam.
Oh my god, I love NBA Jam. I love NBA Jam. You know why I love NBA Jam?
Because it's not realistic.
Because it's not at all like real basketball.
Mhm.
And Tim Kitzrow, I think is his name, or Kitzrow, whoever it is, like Tim, like you're friggin' awesome. So obviously you can see that it's working, right? And oops, hang on. Normally I wouldn't even get here. You get like the NBA Jam logo, and then it would instantly disappear. I mean, every single time. Sometimes I'll just load up the app and I'll keep going back and forward, so I can hear that repeatedly. The other thing too is there's a cheat code in this version and in the PlayStation version where you can unlock the Democrats and the Republicans. So yeah, so you could be like George W. Bush and Dick Cheney versus like Obama and Hillary Clinton.
That's awesome.
It is freaking, Hillary Clinton is on fire. It's freaking awesome. It is so awesome. Barack Obama with the steal.
That's awesome.
But so the fix though, guys, I mentioned it. The fix that you want, right, is you want to go into settings. So click your settings, and then once you're there, you want to go to general. I don't think you can really see it's blowing
Yeah,
out.
I can't see it.
Yeah, let me give me the floor here for a second. So there we go. If you go to general, there is a section in general called accessibility, and under accessibility, I apologize that it's not really that.
It's like whited out.
I know, like I can't. Anyway, under accessibility, there's an option called zoom. You guys can't see it, but mine is set to off. Before that, it had been set to on because the screen on the iPhone is so large that the icons can be kind of hard to see. So there's a feature when you first set up iOS 8 and 9 that allows you to enable zoom, and it zooms the size of all the icons and everything on the screen. Unfortunately, the zoom feature apparently was something that applications had to opt out of. So what happens is older apps that don't know about this zoom feature that aren't able to opt out of it, the zoom feature can sometimes actually crash the app because it upscales the visuals to a resolution they weren't built to display. So, and I found this out actually through this kind of like, I wonder if, because the standard def one doesn't work, or works, but the HD one doesn't. I wonder if any of these other features might have had something to do with it. So now, Now, if I have that off, and I posted this, anybody that sees my review online, I'll actually put, since it didn't come out too well, I don't want to kill more time on this, but since it didn't come out too well on the camera, what I'll do, folks, is I'll write up a little thing in the doodly-doo. I put this in I gave it a 5-star review recently, like within the last week, and I posted it to the Apple Store so that anybody that reads the 5-star review can see the instructions for how to fix the resolution problem. But if you just flip the correct setting to off, you'll be jamming in no time with Hillary Clinton. If you do a play now, and you put in as your initials DEM, it'll unlock the Democrats. If you put in REP, it will unlock the Republicans. So disable the setting that's killing it. Type in Dem and Rep, and get some pre 2016 party bashing going on. So yeah, I mean I kind of took exception to the whole, like, really, seriously, I'm the problem. It's not that the folks can't figure out how to get mobile games work worth a damn, because, and I kind of already mentioned, like, games that I bought for my mobile device, right? Just one OS upgrade away, and suddenly, like, my games don't work.
That's why I don't upgrade.
So, I mean, like, there's no upgrade going to come out for this that's going to brick my games.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. Nintendo won't let that happen. So that's what's kind of nice. That's why us hardcore people, right, and retro people, that's why we like the consoles. That's why we like it. Yeah, it's a walled garden, but it's a walled garden that always gets tended. Versus this is like Wild West, where there's like killings happening all the time, and the sheriff ain't even in town. So, you guys have any other opinions you want to add to that before we move on to the next topic, or?
Nope.
Not really. I mean, I think I'm kind of in the same boat. I mean, I play on my phone a lot, probably more than I should. I mean, I played The Simpsons Tapped Out almost every day for the past 4 years or something, however long it's been out. I mean, so yeah, I have no problem with mobile gaming. But it's different. It's new, Yeah.
I only play Clash of Clans. That's all I play.
Yeah, I think they just need to, in general, they need to be aware that because it is an open platform, I think Ken does nail it in the first half of the article where he said, everything he's saying about marketing, everything that he's saying about, pouring your heart and soul and all your dollars into a game does not mean that people have to go out and buy it, and you certainly shouldn't think that way. You need to know what the market, is looking for and that kind of thing. I think Red nails the second half, though, that I think Ken kind of goes off into the weeds on, where, I think folks need to remember that this is an experimental medium. You're competing with a lot of other people in this experimental medium. You should expect to have a lot of failed releases and experiments until you find the things that are actually what people want to experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, the comparison between the sort of emerging mobile gaming market and like the Atari 2600 market back in the day.
Yeah.
Both were just sort of out of control. A lot of crap games came out. It is kind of interesting to think about it that way.
So I'm glad that you brought that up, because I'd actually we'll take a tangent now before we get to the final topic of today. I'd thought about this before, then forgot until you just mentioned this. Do you think that, much like the days of Atari, right, where there was tons of systems, Emerson had a system, Magnavox had a system, Sears was rebranding systems, right? There's literally tons of systems and games that came out and all this other stuff. Even Atari had like 3 systems when only one of them ever was really king, right? So I guess my question to you guys is, do you think that this glut of activity on mobile, or even just games in general, do you think that we're building up to another crash? Yes or no?
I say no.
Why do you say no? Tyler, we'll give you some time to think, but Red, why do you say no?
Well, back in the day, there was multiple systems out there. There isn't just the big 3 like there is now. And I would consider PC or not PC gaming, mobile gaming part of it because I can see a slowdown in mobile gaming because like, well, we can't just throw junk out there because people aren't going to buy it. I can see devs trying harder on it, but all around crash, the way the PS4 and the Xbox One are selling, at the moment, no. I just don't see it right now.
Well, I guess let me ask you this though, right? Because Xbox One, right, and PS4, all right, they're selling. I don't know. I'd have to go look at the data and stuff to see if they're outselling what their previous generation was by this point. But we do know, okay, Vita is basically on its last leg.
Yeah,
Right?
Vita's garbage.
I don't know for sure Sony's numbers. I'd have to take a look, but I do think that Microsoft's Xbox One is hurting. Mainly because every article that I read is about how they still haven't really recovered from when they first did the unveil and said you wouldn't be able to trade games. And
that pissed off a lot of people. The only reason I'm going to buy one is because it can't be $300.
No, but I tell you what though, right? And here's why I ask, and I wonder, is gaming maybe on the verge of another crash, or at least some forms of gaming, maybe some kinds of gaming.
Like I said, that.
These devices here, and then I want to show you this device. Y'all are familiar with Roku, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Somewhat.
this is a Roku 3, right? And were you aware that the Roku boxes could do games?
I know the Roku 3 was.
So the Roku 3 is a streaming device that you can hook into your television through HDMI, and it allows your non-smart TV to basically have all the Hulu and Netflix and YouTube
that's cool.
features of a smart TV. Yeah, and it sells for about $100. The box is about that big. It has a couple of connectors on it. This is the Roku 3. This is $100. They have a Roku 4, which is a bit faster, and the Roku 4 does 4K video. But basically, they both have Ethernet. They both have HDMI. They both have micro SD, and I think it also has built-in Wi-Fi, so you can hook it into your wireless. But the controller that it comes with.
Okay, I was like.
Yeah, check that out. That's like a gamepad, right? And so you can play, and I was looking it up the other night. They've got Pac-Man, they've got Galaga, they've got Tetris, right? I mean, granted, it's no it's no Mario or anything like that, but they're pretty set with Now
the important question is, does it have Fallout?
No, it doesn't have Fallout. But let me ask you this: so maybe gaming in general is not on the verge of a crash, but I wonder if casual gaming maybe. And the reason being, right, when this can do it, plus this can do it, plus times your television can do it, right? What I see is Emerson Arcadia, 5200, 7800, ColecoVision.
Yeah.
I can see casual gaming going down for a while.
So I agree with you. I don't know that so that's why I guess too I maybe took exception with that article, is because I think the casual gaming market, I think, might end up being just one of those fads that kind of catches us by surprise, sucks us in, and then it's like bell bottoms, right? At some point, bell bottoms and mullets. At some point, we're over it.
And a pet rock.
And we're on to the next thing. I just think there's going to be so many options out there, right? For Roku to clean house on games that you could also buy on your smart TV if you have a smart TV, or that you also maybe already have on your phone, that kind of stuff. I think that somebody's going to end up probably being king of the hill there, and some folks are going to end up going, well, that was an interesting way to blow $250,000.
Yeah, I don't see a crash happening either. I mean, I think maybe, like you're saying, in some degree we could see something like that, but I don't think that the games aren't going to exist anymore for a period of time. I don't think that's ever going to happen again.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. I don't think gaming as a whole is going to.
Because we see Crash, I think of the original Crash. It just everything died. That's all I think.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, I mean, and because I know Chris and I both were there for. I mean, we were both kids at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a crash. For me,
remember...
there was never a point where I didn't have a game. It was like I went from Atari, I bought a Nintendo, and I just kept going.
Yeah, for us, I guess what had happened, and I didn't really see it for the crash at the time. What happened with my family was, I remember, I want to say it was a KBC. I don't know if you guys remember what KBC was, or if you ever had a KBC.
I don't.
KBC was basically like, Kmart or, Walmart or whatever, but like back in the day. So I remember going into a KBC with my parents, and we didn't have a lot when I was growing up. I'm not gonna say that we were poor, but like, you would have seen me in like hand-me-down clothes and things like that, from other people, friends of family and that kind of stuff. We didn't really have a ton. So, but one thing stood out to me is one day we were at KBC and we're going through the game aisle for Atari games. And one day, my dad is just like, we're going to get this one, and we're going to get this one, and we're going to get this one. And I remember that being like, wow, like, that's amazing, because usually these are so expensive, like, we just don't, like usually, like, we get, like, a game for Christmas or something, And here he is like, we'll take Defender, and we'll take this, and we'll take E.T., right? But now when I think back on that, it's like, oh, wow, like, the reason that we could do that is not because for one shopping period my dad was magically loaded. It was because the games must have just tanked in price, and he was literally looking at, like, markdown of, like, get these the hell off the shelf. And then I remember there being this, like, period of time, I think it was only, like, a year or two, where there was, like it was nothing. It was just, like, we still had our Atari, we were still happy with it, but there was, like, nothing... Like, there just was no more games, like, on the shelf. So, and then when by the time Nintendo came out, I only really even knew that Nintendo came out because a friend of mine had gotten one. He was like, dude, you gotta check this out, right? And it was like 1985. So I do kind of remember a little bit, but like you said, like Tyler, like at the time I didn't know there was like a crash. I just thought.
Yeah, like nowadays everybody talks about it as it was this huge thing that just there was no games at all, and it was this horrible time, and Dark Ages and everything. And I'm like, no, that never happened. I mean, at least
there were still computer games, right?
What's that?
There were still computer games.
Yeah, well, I didn't have a computer.
Well, yeah, remember, I wasn't born yet, so I have to go based off what I've read and heard.
No, and that's so, like, academically, yes, there was a crash, and if you go back and you look, like, if you look like countrywide, yes, but if you were to talk to somebody like Tyler or me, it would be like, we know that there was a crash because we've read about it. It's like, oh, exactly. That was a crash? That's what happened? That's why there was this big lag between Atari and Nintendo? And then, like, but at the same time, I don't know, Tyler, what are you on this? Like, I never knew there was anything other than an Atari 2600 until later on. Like, it was like 10 years ago I learned there was a 5200, there was a 70,
I knew about the 5200 because a friend of mine had one. I didn't know about the 7800 at all until a couple years ago. Yeah. But yeah, I knew, about some things. I didn't know about the Atari computers at all. I was like,
yeah,
it was just a couple years ago, literally, that I found out about those.
Right, I knew Tandy had the personal computers. I knew that Apple had the personal computers, Amiga, that kind of thing. But yeah, I wasn't really too tapped into it. So I think part of it maybe too was the whole, like, marketing was a very different animal back then, and so a lot of times the outlets for some of these things would be like Sears catalog, JCPenney catalog. I remember some stuff like the TurboGrafx 16. I don't remember what catalog it was, but I only ever saw that like once in a catalog for some boutique store. You didn't like just walk into James Way or whatever it was that you had at the time and say like, oh hey, check it out, there's a TurboGrafx 16.
I remember seeing it like the Toys R Us, like back in the day.
Yeah, see where I grew up, like back on the East Coast. I grew up in a really small like town, like on the Lake Ontario.
Mhm.
And we lived out in the country. So where I lived, it was like, a quarter mile between your house and the next house.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, yeah, it was like 45-minute drive into the city. And the city was like this population, like 10,000 people type city. So we had like this plaza that had like a Price Chopper, a grocery store, and like, this Kmart or this Jamesway thing. And, we had a Sears and Roebuck, and that was like it.
Yeah.
I remember Sears and Roebuck.
Yeah.
So, but like, and then you could do like, that was back in the day too, when like if a console cost like $100 or more, like your parents were layawaying that shit.
Mhm.
It wasn't like now where it was just like credit, I'll walk out, I'll pay it at the end of the paycheck, the paycheck. It was like, no, like you don't got the money. I tell you what, we'll hold on to it for you, and when you come back with the other $5, we'll give you your Atari.
That's
Right?
funny.
Yeah.
So I mean that was how credit worked, right? They'd give you credit for trying, right?
Mhm.
That was basically how that works. So
Oh,
I
you're
remember,
$10
like,
short. We'll see you next week.
what was that?
You're $10 short. See you next week.
That was exactly no,
Yeah,
that was
literally.
exactly
Yeah,
how.
that's how it
Yeah,
was.
that was exactly how it worked. So I remember my mom like going because it was always the back of the store, right? And actually they still do this. Like if you go to Walmart, they're sometimes hard to find, but like if you go to Walmart, there usually is like this like small room in the back that's a layaway area where you can still like put a Wii on layaway or
Well,
whatever.
they only do that during Christmas time now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can make like payments towards stuff and things like that. But man, like that was the thing. Like that was how you did it like back in
Yeah.
the day.
I
So
used to do that just all the time myself, not that long ago.
that's trip down memory lane. So I don't think that we're gonna return to like a route of gaming stuff on department store stuff. I don't think that's necessarily gonna happen. But what I do think is gonna happen is I do think that we're gonna see at some point developers en masse realizing it costs a lot of money, a lot of time, and it is really hard to make games for mobile that actually land. And I think Saturday Morning RPG is a perfect example of this. Mighty Rabbit made a fantastic game. It's the only game that I bought for my phone besides NBA Jam that I paid more than $5 for. I think I paid like $4 for NBA Jam. I paid $6 to get the entire because it's episodic in its content. Um, these guys, I gotta hand it to them. They made a spectacular RPG game that really did take advantage of both 80s nostalgia to make something new, but then also perfectly utilized the form factor of the phone to add some gameplay elements that you wouldn't normally see. So if you played Super Mario, um, uh, if you played Paper Mario, like the original Paper Mario, you would really, really like Saturday Morning RPG. And it's got a lot of nods, like I mentioned, to the 80s and things like that. But they made this game, I want to say in 2013, and to date, they've never made back all the money and all the time and effort that they put into it. And so they moved on to other games. They made Breach and Clear, which has been released on several different platforms. Saturday Morning RPG has been released on a couple different platforms as well. There is going to be a limited run. They're only making 1,980 of them. This November, they're going to be Limited Run Games is going to be releasing 1,980 copies of Saturday Morning RPG for the PlayStation 4. So if you want a physical copy of it, that's basically the only time and way you're going to get it. After that, I think it'll still be around on the store, so you'll be able to download it digitally. You should definitely check it out.
Are you gonna get it?
Fantastic game. What's that?
Are you gonna get it for the PS4?
Absolutely. I'm going to try to get my hands on a physical copy if I can beat the retailers and the scammers. So I already, like I said, I own it on the phone. They've got a Christmas episode that was absolutely spectacular. It even has a reference in there to the Star Wars Christmas special. So I mean, it's got Rick Astley references, like instead of like they have these stores in there that instead of them being McDonald's, they're RC, they're RC McAstley restaurants, and you have to collect these like these RC meals. Like they're like little Happy Meals, and they look like little Happy Meal boxes. And those you get enough of them, and you get the points off the boxes, and then you can like buy stuff. It's like the main character's name is Marty, and he kind of looks like Marty from Back to the Future. The DeLorean may or may not make an appearance in it, as do the GoBots and the Transformers.
Really?
Yeah, it is. I think there's even like Care Bears in there. I mean, Rainbow Bright, I think, is Strawberry Shortcake.
You make me want to go buy it now.
Dude, it is. I'm telling you, like it breaks my heart because it was an episodic game, and I think originally they'd planned for it to be like 6 episodes. I want to get those guys on the show sometime. So Mighty Rabbit, if you're watching this, still want to have you guys on the show. I'd love to tell people just how let you tell people just how much love and care went into Saturday Morning RPG, because it's a crime that game didn't take off. But I think it's not. It's all about exposure, and for whatever reason, that game just hasn't been able to get enough, exposure despite being on multiple platforms. So yeah, I will be picking up for the PS4. I'm going to try for the physical copy first. If I can't, I'm going to get the digital copy. It is a great game, but you can make a great game and then just people don't. I think most people just don't know about it. So the other thing too is I think it was a launch title for the Ouya.
Oh really?
Yeah, and so I think maybe initially. I don't know. I'd love to talk with the Mighty Rabbit folks. I wonder if some of the just not having a lot of exposure is the fact that maybe they were counting on when they launched on the Ouya it being like a more limited market. That was kind of before everybody and their brother was like making consoles and games and all that kind of stuff. So maybe they were kind of counting on being one of the few, titles on there initially, and because I know a lot of the early adopters got it for Ouya, and then I think other platforms didn't fare as well. So they've ported it to just about everything. They even have a Wii U port that they've been working on. But basically what's been happening is for the last year and a half, if not 2 years, these guys have been working on their games that have been generating profit, like Breach and Clear, and for the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. They've been working on these other titles and stuff, but then as time allows, right, they've been going back and working because Saturday Morning RPG, there were 4 episodes released. There was supposed to be a 5th, and that's when they were just like, we can't keep making episodes for this game that nobody's buying. But then they didn't want to leave, I don't know what the number is, but they didn't want to leave, whatever the number is of people that actually bought into it, like in the lurch. So they've been slowly just eating the cost of their personal time and the company's money to make sure that they finish it out. So what's really cool is the physical copy that's going to launch on PS4. It will be the debut of the completed game.
Okay.
All 5 episodes. So I confirmed with them on their Twitter feed.
So is there going to be a 6th then, or is it just 5?
I don't know. There was originally planned to be a 6th one. Anybody that downloaded the game on Steam, there were achievements listed for the 5th and 6th. So they definitely scripted for both of them. But, I'm not sure if what they did is, maybe they merged what was in episode 6 into episode 5. I'm not really sure. The other thing too that's really awesome is that the music in the game is absolutely fantastic. They actually have an industry professional whose name slips my mind right now, but the guy is absolutely fantastic. He does the music for Saturday Morning RPG, and it's amazing. You can buy the soundtrack separately online. So you can make the perfect game. It can look great and sound great and play great, and people just don't find it, or maybe they don't find it compelling enough to spend $5 or $6 on. But in this case they did it right. There's a demo. You can download the first episode for for nothing basically, And then you can buy the episodes individually for like $1 a piece, or you can, I think $1 or $2 a piece, or you can buy the whole subscription. I bought the whole subscription. Did not regret it. It was great. The only thing I regretted was how fast I played through it all, and it wasn't because it was short. It was just because like I got it during Christmas break, and I spent my entire Christmas vacation playing that game. I just played every single episode until I beat it. So, which is rare for me to do in a game, to just sit down and like say, I'm gonna give it my whole time off. I don't usually get a lot of time off, so for me to give it all to a game, it's gotta be pretty good. We got Red over there panting. Are you gonna buy the game?
I might, just because you're recommending it. I really might buy this on the PS4. It's based off your recommendation, so if I hate it, I know who to blame.
You know, I caveat it with if you like Paper Mario.
No, I'm gonna buy it. And if I hate it, I'm like, you know what, Dash?
If you want to know, right? Somehow acquire Paper Mario for N64. Right?
It's actually on my list. I actually don't have it, surprisingly.
Yeah. So if you like Paper Mario, everything that you like about Paper Mario, you will find not only existing in Saturday Morning RPG, but you'll find it dripping with 80s nostalgia, and you'll just be playing through the whole game like giggling the whole way through. Like,
the era, I don't even remember.
Dude, is that enemy wearing MC Hammer pants? Oh my god. He just did a don't touch this move. That is totally MC Hammer.
Well, no spoilers, because I'm going to forget it.
Well, I may or may not have made up that MC Hammer though.
I'm just sitting there playing. I'm like, damn it, Dash.
Yeah, no, I may or may not have made up the MC Hammer reference. No, but so great game. Definitely check it out. I wish we had 1 billion viewers so that they would all go and rush and check out that game right now. You can get it on PS3, I think, as well. But it has everything except for the last episode. I think
How much is it going to be?
Oh, the digital version, I'm not sure.
Okay.
The physical copy is going to be $24, but for me, like, I have to have it. Like, it's like this, right? I gotta.
He's got all these PS4 games and not the PS4 yet.
The reason that I have to have it is because these guys sank so much into it, and it's such a fantastic game, and I am such a fan. It's like I'm such a fan of Back to the Future. Like, all they had to do was say a physical copy, and I was like, sold. They could have said the physical copy was $40. I still would be buying it on launch.
60.
So 60. I'd wait for it to get the $40 bid. No,
the limited edition
one.
one.
The reason that I say that is because if they were selling it for 60, they would have sold it in probably huge quantities.
True,
right?
true.
And really, like, you have to be reasonable about it. Like, this game for $60, Back to the Future, the game, there's not enough content in here to warrant this game being $60. Once you've played it through and you figured everything out, you can burn through the whole game in a day. So $24, okay, $24 is worth a day of my time. It's like 2 movies, right? So I kind of put Saturday Morning RPG in the same thing. The first time you play through it, it might take you several days or a week because you're trying to figure everything out, reflect all the stuff. Once you've actually burned through it, though, you could probably ram your way through the game start to finish in maybe a day. So $24 to me sounds reasonable, but the on the phone, like I said, it was $5 or $6, I think, for a whole like
okay.
buy the pass to all the episodes. So I'm imagining for the PlayStation 4, the digital copy is probably going to be somewhere between $10 and $20. So, but again, Mighty Rabbit, come on the show.
Come on the show.
I'd love to have you guys, man. I so want to see you on here. I just want to. I could talk about Saturday Morning RPG for another hour, but we don't have another hour. So the last thing I want to throw by you guys, and I don't think anybody else has seen it here, so I just want to let you know that it exists, let our audience know that it exists, and so basically give some of your ideas on it. There is a Metroid fan movie out there that is Samus Aran, and basically, I don't want to give away too much of it, but it's part live action, and it's part CG.
Hmm.
So it's about 12 minutes long, and I just want to get your ideas in terms of what are your thoughts on fan service to things? What are some of the best fan service things that you've seen? What are some of the worst?
I actually like it because I've seen some like really cool, well-made like Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that. Or there's been a couple Ace Combats, but it's still from a lot of movies. But some of that stuff, these guys put some effort in. It's like, okay, that's really cool.
I gotta say, this one's up there. This is one of those ones where like these guys put some effort into it, and it's definitely pretty cool. I'm not gonna nitpick any. They're like with anything that's independent. There's things that you can find to kind of nitpick or whatever. This is a pretty damn good. I could not have made a better fan service film than that one. So hopefully Nintendo doesn't like send lawyers after them. Um, so Tyler, what are your thoughts? Do the fan things do it for you, or do they just leave you like in
It
want and wanting?
depends. It really depends on the project. I mean, I've seen some good ones. I've seen some bad ones.
Yeah. What's some of
I
the
think,
best ones you've seen?
honestly, my favorite one it's a short film that was made. It's called Troops. I don't know if you ever heard it. It's a Star Wars one.
Yes.
Yeah, you've seen Troops? I love Troops. I don't know why. It's great.
Some people
Uh,
would call this the ass end of space, but I like the small time feeling you get.
yeah.
I joined the Empire about 5 years ago, and been with them ever since, eh? Have you seen that one, Jeremy?
No, but now I want to link to it.
Your homework is you gotta watch Troops, right? We'll
Yeah.
put a link down.
Troops,
in the
okay.
video.
Yeah,
This was made like I think almost a decade ago.
it's longer than that.
Yeah, basically they took the concept of like Cops. You've seen the show Cops, right?
Yeah.
And they even got like the theme song in there,
Uh,
But it's like an episode of Cops only in the Star Wars
Stormtroopers.
universe.
yeah,
That's awesome. That's kind of funny.
yeah,
So
it's pretty good.
Yeah, you got to check it out. That was definitely really good, and it was done incredibly well. Like they got
Yeah.
the scenes right. They even stitch them into like parts of like the film. It was done pretty good. So Jeremy, did you mention what you thought one of your favorites was?
Just like Dragon Ball Z, because as a kid I was really into Dragon Ball Z, and to a point I like anime, so those are ones I usually like to watch.
Gotcha. Is there a specific one though that you remember that like sticks out to you?
It's been a long time, but there's one, it'll take me a couple days to find it on YouTube, but those used to be this really good one for Dragon Ball Z. And you know what? You heard the movie Dragon Ball, right? It was really terrible. Okay, this 5-minute video made Dragon Ball look really shitty. Like, it was like 10 times better, even though it's 5 minutes long.
Oh, wow. So I guess that's really, and we've seen those too before, like where sometimes the fan service video is like way better than any legit attempt to date.
Yeah, because Dragon Ball was just terrible. When I was watching this, like, okay, the flying looks cool, the energy balls look cool.
Yeah.
The warping back and forth. I was like, okay, that is really cool. It's well made.
Nice.
I was like, I would actually put money into it if they ever did a GoFundMe.
Speaking of another thing that was surprisingly well made that I would put money into, but I didn't find out till after, like M. Night Shyamalan actually made something good again.
I hate that man after what he did to The Last Airbender. I'll never watch one of his movies. After we did The Last Airbender, I'll never watch his movies.
Well, granted, right? But he actually makes pretty good television.
No, I hate him too much for Last Airbender. I haven't forgiven him for that.
Wayward Pines was actually, for those that stuck with it, Wayward Pines was pretty darn good. And it didn't involve him like trying to be like, oh, look at how much smarter than my audience I am. So like I think that's what I liked the most about it. It did have some twisty turny stuff in there, but the twisty turny stuff was unlike M. Night Shyamalan. It was actually delivered early, a lot of it, and it could have went off into the weeds, with trying to be clever and everything, but it really just tried to be true to the subject matter. So, for those that don't know, Wayward Pines was actually a series of books. So, it was very faithful to the original source material. which actually disappointed some people that read the books because basically you're just watching what you already read. But for those that hadn't read it, I hadn't read the books. I almost, I'll be honest, like I watched the pilot because I'm like, let's see how bad Shyamalan screws this up. That was the whole reason why I watched it. I was like, I want to see the train wreck before I write it off, right? Like at least part of it. So I won't stick around to like, to find survivors, but I'll at least watch the wreck. It hooked me. I was like, okay, all right, that's pretty interesting, right? And then I watched the next episode. I'm like, okay, all right, I'll stay engaged. And then I'm like, at some point he's gonna come out like he's all smarter than me. He's gonna do his little cheesy cameo there where he shows us like why he's not a professional actor. Like, there was no cheesy cameo. There was no like, oh, I'm so smarter than you,
I can't watch anything. I'm sorry, but I still hate him.
No, it was worth it. It was definitely worth it. But definitely not. It wasn't Sixth Sense, but it didn't try to be either. And I think that's why it worked. I think every movie that he's done since Sixth Sense has tried to be Sixth Sense. And fool me once, shame on you.
I like his movies. No, I'm just
No, Pugmire, no.
Not all of them.
He ruined my childhood.
He ruined your childhood.
Wow.
Yeah, because I watched The Last Airbender as a child.
All right, we're gonna be wrapping up like very shortly. But before we wrap up, Jeremy, elaborate. How? I understand, right? Last Airbender, right? But
I watched that as a kid. I love that cartoon. It was one of my favorite cartoons growing up, and he just spat in it. He just insulted my entire childhood. I literally left pissed at the theater. So
how did this affect your day-to-day life, though? I mean, did this, like...
You just brought it up, I'm pissed again.
Like, you're in school? Like, I need to understand this.
The movie came out when I was an adult, so I literally went there as a grown-ass man with my friend who's a grown-ass man to go watch this movie, and I literally left the movie pissed. I was like,
right, so let me understand this. You went into a movie as a grown-ass man
for a kid's cartoon.
Subject matter that you thought was awesome when you were a kid, that you now realize was really just mediocre.
No, because I watched the whole show again because my friend had the DVD set the week before. I watched everything. I was like, okay, I got to refresh everything. I was like, oh, it's still good.
Gotcha.
And I was pissed when I left.
So as a grown-ass man, you went back and rewatched.
Yes, yep, I'm in it. I watched the whole show.
All right.
And it's funny, a week later my friend calls me. My little sister wants to go, do you want to watch again? I was like, fuck no. So I leave pissed again.
And there goes our rating for this episode.
He said, I'll buy you dinner and a movie, and I still said no.
So hang on, because we need to set the record straight on this, right? So M. Night Shyamalan did not destroy your childhood because your childhood is already transpired by the time you saw his movie.
No, he ruined it. I hate it.
If anything, what he destroyed was your adulthood.
No, because that was my favorite cartoon as a kid, and he spat in his face. See, I'm pissed again.
It's not like M. Night Shyamalan.
But what I'm thinking about now, we bring it up, I was like, damn, I'm pissed again.
M. Night Shyamalan didn't hop into a DeLorean, go back in time, right, and like smack you around while you're trying to watch the cartoon.
That's what it felt like.
Oh, no.
See, I'm pissed again because I remember it. I was like, halfway through the movie, this movie's got to get better. No, it didn't get better.
So at what point, can you pinpoint the exact moment in the movie where you wanted Shyamalan to die?
About halfway through, I was like, this movie's got to get better. It didn't. I was like, jeez.
Okay. All right.
And they're like, oh, you might make a second one. I was like, oh, God, no.
All right. So he retroactively destroyed your childhood.
Yes.
You had a wonderful childhood, and then M. Night Shyamalan stole it.
Before that movie, I was like, why does everybody hate M. Night Shyamalan? After that movie, I was like, okay, I understand why everybody hates him.
Well, let me ask you this though, right? Like, so he made a really shitty movie about something that you love, right? Is it? You can still go back to the original material though, right? And like.
Oh yeah, but it's like I'm gonna sit there and like.
The fact that is right.
I can sit there this first season, like, remember when M. Night did this? Remember when M. Night did that?
Yeah, but it's no different than George Lucas coming along and making the prequels.
Yeah, but I don't care about Star Wars.
I guess that's what I was getting at. Is, like
I
George
can still
Lucas.
watch 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, I mean George Lucas, right? 1, 2, and 3 aside, I can still enjoy 4, 5.
I like the first two.
Right?
I like the one.
And in fact, because he re-released the I didn't F with them editions, right, which my wife and I bought, we can go and we can watch on DVD now. We can watch 4, 5, and 6 like they looked on VHS.
Yeah.
So yeah. So for me, it's kind of like, yeah, like I'm not happy with it, but I am looking forward to see what Disney does with Star Wars.
Me too.
I'm really hoping Jar Jar is the, I don't know the character name, the other bad guy.
Yeah.
You see that meme, right? It says, "I'm gonna bid you, Annie." I was like, gosh, I hope that happens. Just to see the Star Wars fans pissed. I'm horrible, I know.
So the person that does Jar Jar's voice there, Ahmed Best, right?
Uh-huh.
So he's a huge, no big surprise. He's a huge sci-fi fan, but he's also, I guess, close friends with LeVar Burton. So, and rumor has it that he and LeVar are working on their own independent sci-fi film project.
Is Jar Jar gonna mean it?
So take a look. It's in a book, my friends.
Speaking
All
of Star Wars, I just wanted to point out, I looked this up. Troops was actually released in 1997. It's older than I thought it was.
Damn, I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
That's almost 20 years old now.
And folks, we're about an hour old into this show, so I'm going to give Jeremy a golden opportunity, right? Because I know that he's been racked with pain and torment by M. Night Shyamalan for several years.
God, I hate that man.
I'm gonna allow him to get some therapeutic commentary in here. He's gonna give us a date.
1 week. We're 1 week away from Fallout 4. I'm so excited.
There we go. Like that M. Night Shyamalan, just stay the hell away. Just stay.
God, imagine.
Let him have this one, M. Night. Let him.
Watch him make a cameo in Fallout 4. Oh, I'll be pissed.
All right, folks. This has been Retro Reload. Tune in on Thursday. There's going to be some really fun subject matter for you there. Check out some of the links in the doobly-doo. Really cool Metroid fan-made movie. Does not look like a fan-made movie. This is kind of the one that we'd hoped that would see from John Woo. So check that out and tune in on Thursday for more Retro Reload.